touch the skies. Cheltenham Town and Forest Green, Gloucester City stands so keen. Talk of the county, loud and clear.
Good morning. I am your host, Daniel Hopkins, and welcome to another episode of Talk of the County Podcast, brought to you by Traffic Safety Management Ltd, experts in traffic management, local depot in Gloucester, but support projects all around the UK. TSM keeps the roads moving safely day and night, offering local operatives a great career prospect in a socially driven company, and they generally look after their people and communities they serve. To find out more, visit www.tsmltd.co.uk. Good morning, gents. Who are you? We've got Cheltenham Town panelist Chris Howes. How you doing, Chris?
Morning. I'm tired.
Yeah, it's an early one. Good morning, Dave Jones/Angel. How are you?
All right. Good morning.
Good morrow. Good morning to Sean Baker. How you doing, Sean?
Yeah, not too bad. You boys
Well, what we'll do, we'll get straight into it, and we'll go to Around the Grounds with Chris. Over to you, Chris.
We are going to talk of the counties around the grounds by Chris Howes.
Cheers, Dan. Let's go around the grounds. Brought to you by BAM Recruitment. They find better matches than most managers in a January transfer window. Whether that's temporary or permanent, they put the right people in the right positions. Engineering, construction, and operational. No VAR needed. Check them out below. First up, the ladies want to forget last Sunday for Cheltenham Town as they fell to a 6-0 defeat away at Lewes. Later today, they have a chance to make amends with a home tie against Bristol Rovers in the County Cup. Forest Green had their game postponed last week away at Bishop's Lydiard. They face Pucklechurch at home in the Gloucestershire Senior Cup later today. Gloucester City did play last Sunday, and goals from Libby Gota, Sashi Kaneko Grun and Maggie Neal secured a 3-0 win over Frampton Rangers. Gloucester face Bristol City under-21s in the Senior Cup later today. Moving to the Southern League Division 1 South, Bishop's Cleeve had their midweek game against Falmouth postponed, and the trend continued yesterday with their game against Swindon Supermarine also postponed. Cleeve are scheduled to face Winchester City next Saturday. Hartbury did play yesterday away at Portishead, where they ran out 3-1 winners. Next up for Hartbury is a home game against Westbury next Saturday. Excuse me. Hellenic Premier Division clubs had no midweek games. Yesterday saw Slimbridge and Mangotsfield in Challenge Cup action. Making it through was Slimbridge winning 3-1 away at Stonehouse, and Mangotsfield lost 5-4 on penalties after a 2-2 draw with Worcester Raiders. In the league, Fleet won 3-0 away at Pershaw, and Cinderford won 3-1 at home over Corsham Town. One county derby in the next week, where Lydney host Fairford next Saturday. And also good luck to Cheltenham Saracens of Division 1 as they take on Roman Glass St George, who sits second in the Premier Division, in the Challenge Trophy next week. That's it from around the grounds. Back over to you, Dan.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. Well, we'll get straight on to the football. And we'll start with Cheltenham Town. Sponsored by Emirates Racing. Find them on all your socials. And get in contact if you've got any questions. Chris, before we start on yesterday's game, which is not a great deal to talk about, but I've managed to find some things to talk about. Yeah. It was announced in the week by John Palmer that after 29 years, Cheltenham are set to leave Araya and move to Adidas. What's your thoughts on that?
New kit. That's my thoughts on that. As long as we don't get what you decided to create on artificial intelligence in the week as our home kit, I'm more than happy. And I'm sure that you'll post a tweet with your with your abomination of a creation. It'd
Well,
be nice as
that-
an away kit, mind. I've got to be honest.
that was
but
that
not a
wasn't
home kit.
mine. That was something someone sent me. Yeah, I haven't
Fair
made
enough,
them. but it just feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's time. I think the club are in a transitional period as a whole, with obviously Mike Garlick's takeover. There's going to be a lot of infrastructure changes down at Seasons, and a new kit. Just seems like the right thing to do. Sorry, a new kit manufacturer seems the right thing to do. Plus, I think it will probably bring us in line with Mike's other clubs. And hopefully it might even save us a couple of pennies, but not that I think we need to save pennies, but I think that might help.
Yeah, and the quality is going to be a lot better. That's the one thing I'm looking forward
You'd like to think so, with with the name that they've got.
They
You'd
do have
like
some
to
lovely
think,
kits, don't they?
yeah.
material wise as well.
A few
Like,
teams who've got Adidas who've got really
Like
lovely.
Put it this way: it won't be made out of recycled paper or glass. So
plastic bottles.
I'm happy. Or plastic bottles, yeah.
that's exactly the thing. Like these shirts I've got here, you've only if you've just cut, when you cut your nails and you like you get that like little sharp bit of nail. If you catch on your shirt, it just
I get that all the time.
it skags your shirt, or you put it in the wash and it comes in.
I'm surprised you get that so much with the amount you file your nails, Dave.
No, I never get sharp with someone else.
Yeah, Dave
I
won't have
do
that.
pay a lot of attention to my nails. Very proud of my nails. I've fired them for 40 years. I'm quite proud of having some.
Brilliant. And also it was announced this week, I think it was always going to happen, that Scott Bennett has left the club and joined Weston. I know it was a bit of a, it was kind of a love-hate relationship, and you did get a bit of stick from Charlton fans, which some of it
I think that's really unfair. Everyone I read, I cringed a little bit. I mean,
yeah. I exactly thought the same.
I can see why he got a bit of stick, because he made a few mistakes in games, and the last mistake he made was completely unforgivable. It was terrible. But he doesn't. I don't think he deserved the amount of stick he got. Everyone makes mistakes,
and if he's not
part
good
and
enough,
parcel
that's
of
not
being a
his fault,
human being is making mistakes. And he's at that age now. He's
How old is
winding
he?
down.
30,
I think he's 36,
35,
36, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's winding down now. It's a good move for him. He'll play football, and yeah, wish him all the best. I don't think it worked out for him at Cheltenham Town, unfortunately.
No, and I think, Chris, do you think it's fair to say that a lot of the sort of, say hate is probably the wrong word, but some of the abuse he got, you would probably say it was hate. Do you think a lot of it was down to the fact that he got that new deal after playing 25 games, played half a game against Gillingham when he was injured, come off, and it gives him a new year? That kind of went against, even though it's not his fault, it went against him, didn't it?
100%. If that doesn't happen, I think he would have stayed anyway. I've got to be honest, because the manager would have kept him, because they're good mates. But in football, you can't always go to your mates as a player. It's you got to do the right thing by the club, and the right thing for the club was him leaving last summer. Because unfortunately, I don't think he's League Two quality anymore. He has been he's had a really good career, and played at a decent level. But unfortunately, I don't think he's that level anymore.
Do you think though, and this is something I know actually, obviously a manager always wants a player they can trust, and obviously we get on to Steve Salt's after the game, and he talks about trusting his bench and stuff like that. Now, obviously, I know for a fact that Michael Flynn wanted to keep Tom Bradbury, but maybe somebody above Michael Flynn at the time offered Tom Bradbury a deal that he could refuse, and that's why he ended up going to Harrogate. And I've always said before, Charlton would lose out on players to many clubs, but to Harrogate is not one
Harrogate
of them.
is a strange one, yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it was more about, I'm going to play you now, to take that decision away from the DOF at the time?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Anyway, I wish him good luck. He's a good bloke. Good luck at Weston.
Top person. Just unfortunately, I don't think he's League Two quality anymore.
Yeah. Right. let's move on to yesterday's game. And before we start, I've got Pete Matthews' analysis of the game and see if you agree, Chris.
Possession, particularly in the first half. But Joe Day really only made one serious save, which was a good save diving to his right in the second half. Cheltenham weren't great, I have to say, in the first half. The formation didn't really work. Steve Cottrell acknowledged that both after the game and at half-time really made two substitutes. Cheltenham had more of the ball in the second half, but still had to defend well. I thought Robbie Cundy was absolutely outstanding in terms of clearing his line. Cheltenham had chances. I think if the game had kept going on for another 15, they might have nicked it. Jordan Thomas probably had the best chance of the lot when he cut in, and you think he's going to have a shot on his left foot cutting in from the right, but he tried to find George Miller and the chance was gone. Hutchinson also broke through, but was being pursued by too many players to really get a proper shot away. Walcott's second yellow looked very, very harsh to me, I have to say. Offerba could also have been sent off if you're applying that letter of the law. But the really bad news for Cheltenham, that injury to Ben Stevenson. Let's hope it's not as serious as it looked. Stevenson went off on the stretcher. Everybody at Cheltenham sent in their best wishes. Cheltenham needed that. They needed to get back to clean sheets. They needed to be disciplined. Steve Cottrell, I'm sure, would have been absolutely delighted with what he saw. Good point, good performance. And to Bromley.
Thanks, Pete. Sounds like you've done something like that before. It's really good summarising of the game. Did you agree with what he said there, Chris?
Yeah. Apart from the second yellow, I think it was a yellow. And I think he deserved to be sent off personally. But he is right, Offerball could have gone as well for a similar thing. But other than that, I am in full agreement with what Pete says.
Yeah. So before the game, obviously Steve Cottrell announced on Thursday in his press conference that the camp had been hit by illnesses, and you could see that by probably the amount of changes. But I don't think all the changes was down to illness. He said that he wanted to try and go down to Barnet and keep a clean sheet and what have you.
It's well known that if you keep a clean sheet, you're going to pick up more points. So, yeah.
Yeah. One thing I haven't looked into is with the last time. Well, that's the first clean sheet actually since Crawley. But we started with a 3 at the back, 2 6s and 2 8s. It was obvious that we were setting up, wasn't it? From the set go in the game. I've seen a few comments online where people said it was awful. We didn't touch the ball, but again, and this is not me. I'm not going to say like somebody else here. This is not me saying that certain people know more about football than others. But if you know football,
you played in the Prem now.
You
haven't played in the Prem. I don't know what you got.
North Gloucester Prem. If you looked how the game was set up, I'm going to reel some stats off here. Against Walsall, Barnet had 76% possession. Against Crewe, they had 60% possession. Against Shrewsbury, they had 78% possession. And against us, they had 78% possession. Now, it tells you that they keep the ball well. And you look at
they're top of the possession stats.
Yeah.
In the whole league.
Are you in agreement, Chris, that if Cheltenham had gone down there and pressed them, they would just pop the ball past us and they would have probably scored 2 or 3 goals?
Well, it's hypothetical, of course, but that does seem like a very logical assumption. Yes.
Yeah, I do have the odd one, mate. But in terms of doing that, the first half I thought we was excellent without the ball, but we wasn't so good with it, was we?
Oh no, we couldn't keep the ball for anything. It was a case of sit back and absorb. The way the game went, I was thinking we're going to win this 1-0 with a breakaway goal completely against the run of play really late in the game. That didn't happen, but that's how it looked. A typical smash and grab. But look, I'll take a 0-0 draw at Barnet all day of the week.
Yeah, I said that before the game. I said, I would have took a point. They're in form. But, Barnet had a few chances first half, but I mean, they was kind of half chances. They were snatching at things because we was in such a low block. When they was in possession. In a way, you could say that's credit to Cheltenham, can't you? Like, sometimes when you're in that low block and you are pressing deep,
I know he supports Forest Green, but that is harsh.
Even that.
It's probably because it's probably because it's usually Sean the first one to say it, but it must have been in my other WhatsApp group. But yeah, they definitely said that, if they'd have taken their chances, and I don't think they had clear-cut chances first half.
No, there wasn't a clear-cut chance in probably the whole game. They had one good chance second half with a Sombalonga. Day makes a good save. That's it.
But let's get on to the second half. Cots makes 2 changes at half time. He brings Bickerstaff and Young on for Demon and Ashfield, and changed back to a 4 at the back. It made a difference, didn't it? We looked more comfortable, didn't we?
Yeah. We had a little bit, excuse me, a little bit more of the ball, and we actually looked like we could go forward a little bit. It did make a difference, to answer your question.
Yeah, and as you said, early in the second half, they made that brilliant save down to his right. It was a great chance,
but that was the only real chance that they had.
It was,
in my opinion.
No, you're right. You're right. I think we did. I wouldn't say we changed the game when we started pressing them because that would go against everything that I said in the first half. I don't think we pressed them dangerously, but what we done was we kept our shape, but we had an outlet, I thought, second half, and obviously with Bickerstaff playing out on the left.
I thought Bickerstaff started really well actually in the second half. I do think he started really well. He faded out, but I thought he started really well, and he looked dangerous when he got on the ball.
Caused them problems, and he was back to goal. One thing I liked about Bickerstaff yesterday, and I don't know if you agree, was he had his back to goal. And even if it was out on the right, but he was holding it enough for the midfield to get up with play, and then he was laying it off and then spinning. He is getting better and better each game.
Yeah, he is, and it's a credit to him and the work that he's putting in, and of course the coaching staff. He is showing signs of improvement, and let's not forget, out wide is not his natural position. But he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, I like him. And as I always say, football is all about scoring goals. If you don't score goals, you don't win. But
I think the thing with Bickerstaff is I think he's a confidence player. And he has scored a couple of goals recently, which is going to boost his confidence. You could see when, he hadn't scored for ages, and you could see he was probably trying too hard.
Yeah.
But he got those couple of goals, and now he's relaxed a little bit, and we're getting a bit more of kind of the real Jake Bickerstaff, I think.
No, I 100% agree there, Chris. And obviously, like you said, they had that chance, and they didn't really have anything after that. But the best chance, a great chance for Cheltenham fell to Isaac Hutchinson, where we hit him on the counter attack. Hutchinson's through on goal, but it was weird. It was like some sort of like Western where everybody was just like chasing Hutchinson, and he just got to the edge of the area, ran out of steam, didn't he? He got the shot away, but ran out of steam.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a great chance. And that is because I know Isaac Hutchinson's top speed is not, he's not Usain Bolt.
No, he's not.
So he was always going to be caught. I think in that situation, he was too far from goal for it to be a great chance. I mean, his run started inside our own half. And that is too far for Isaac Hutchinson to burst through. He was always going to get caught. But it was quite funny that there were like 3 or 4 Barnet players all pretty much in a line chasing after him.
Yeah,
and I think he took the shot too soon. But if he didn't take the shot then, I think it would have got blocked personally. Yeah, it was a good chance, but not as good as the next chance that you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I just say I've said it was like a Western. It wasn't like a Western with them with guns. It would have reminded me of, if you replayed it, you could have like put the music of because it was literally, there was all like 4 players just running after him. It was great though. It was a good chance. I do think, Chris, when you look back at it, I looked back at it last night. I think if he could have had that one more, gone that extra stride, I think he could have slotted it in the side of the keeper, but he did snatch, didn't he, when he got to the 18
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, 92nd minute, again, Barnet were having a lot of the ball. 92nd minute, Jordan Thomas breaks away this time, and I'm off my seat, and I'm thinking, he's going to bury this, Why didn't he shoot? It can't be
He had a
confidence.
couple of players around him. I personally, Jordan Thomas is far from selfish. And that was the problem on that occasion. He should have been selfish. He should have had a shot. But he did have a player right in front of him, and his cross was deflected by that player. So I'm not sure I don't think a shot was possible, but he should have had a go for me.
Yeah.
And Miller's on his heels, and he should do better because it's literally on his head. But there you go.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Do you think it's that problem when you've got a left footer playing on the right? You get it in football all the time now where they play on the opposite side.
He crossed it with his left foot.
Yeah, he's left footed.
Yeah. So I don't see that as a problem if someone crosses it with his left foot and he's left-footed.
What I'm saying is if he's right-footed, if he's
right-footed, he's got more of a yeah. I see what you mean. Sorry. Yes. He could have tapped it down the outside and gone near post maybe. His right foot isn't bad. Let's be honest, it's not bad. He made his decision, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. But it was, for me, it was probably the best chance of the entire game. I'd put it ahead of a Sombalonga.
It's a rubbish game when you can talk about a chance that didn't even lead to a shot for 10 minutes. Right.
We've had to properly extract this, Dave.
Look, Forest Green got like 50 minutes last week for half a game. So I'm trying to pull this out.
Yeah, we're on to 20. Well, we're on to 15 at the moment. But yeah, it was a chance where, like I said, I thought he was going to bury it because there's one player on the pitch, apart from Hutchinson, you would want bearing in on goal is Jordan Thomas because he's so calm. Yeah, as you said, he was just over.
He's really calm as well.
Yeah,
he is.
Calm.
Anyway, you said at the beginning, Chris, that it was a yellow card. I thought it was a yellow card, but it was an honest challenger, wasn't it? He was genuinely trying to get the ball, but
genuinely trying to get the ball, but he was just about half an hour late.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So yes, I don't think it was harsh. It was definitely a foul. Definitely for me a booking. If an opposition player makes that challenge on one of our players, I'm screaming my head off for a yellow card. So
yeah, of course you are. Yeah.
In terms of balance, it was deserved for me.
I think
his first challenge was a yellow as well.
Yeah, I think it was more the first one, which when you look at the balance of things, he got wrong side of the player and then pulled him back, didn't he?
Yeah. It's a booking all day long.
Yeah.
So no, I've got absolutely no complaints about it, and I think it was telling that it wasn't even mentioned in the post match.
Yeah. Do you think it's like, obviously Cots goes on to pre-match? He says about he's now got a bench he can trust, and it's obvious because the amount of subs he made yesterday compared to what he had been making. Can you see that Cots looking at it as a problem, thinking, well, I put you on and you've let me down, or do you think it's something that's like I said, it was on the first one, second one was an honest challenge, but a bit late.
Yeah, you're gonna get that with from time to time. You'll get that when you sign players from further down the pyramid. They won't be as consistent, and Sean's obviously seeing that at the moment at over the road. But we got him from Torquay, so yeah, it's lower down the pyramid, not as low as Forest Green signed players from, but still lower than we're used to. So you are going to get that from time to time. Unfortunately, he was punished for it yesterday.
Yeah. And on to Cots' thoughts, there wasn't a lot of it. And this is not a dig at Gloucester Live, but I know John Palmer always says that if you want to listen to interviews, download the app. But I stopped at McDonald's on the way back yesterday, put it onto the car as I was driving. Every literally 5 seconds it kept going to an advert. So
I know the adverts really did my head in yesterday. So I almost went to the club official website, and I never do that. for the interviews.
It was hard. It was hard to listen. But what I did manage to extract from it was he said we arrived with a game plan and not to concede, and and we done that.
And we didn't. We did. The team did their job. Clean sheet. What more can I say? We got a point. How many points did Forest Green get yesterday?
Exactly. Well, we got one more
across the season.
But the one thing I was really pleased with was sometimes, like, if you set up like we did first half, sometimes you can sit there and you can go, yeah, we was great without the ball, wasn't so good with the ball.
Oh no, we were awful with the ball yesterday.
But Cott's seen that, and he changed. He said that's why he went back to the 4 at the back. He said because it was more comfortable, and he goes, look, I don't want to play like that. He said, but we had to in a way yesterday. He's seen it. It obviously that still wasn't the game plan, Chris, because like I said, as good as we was without the ball, we just didn't do nothing with it, did we? We kept giving it back and giving it away.
Now we couldn't string a pass together, unfortunately. But it worked out in the end. Got a point away from home. Happy days.
It was a very good point. And I'll take that all day. Just one more for Cheltenham. I want to say a massive congratulations to Ryan Broom, who became a dad for the first time. He's actually fit again, Chris. So Steve said there was a chance of him being there, but he said I told him, stay at home with your family. One game.
Absolutely, 100% the right decision for. And this is one of the reasons why Steve Cottrell is a top manager. His man management skills are sublime, and telling him to go off and spend time with his new baby and miss is quality.
The both saying to it, Ryan Broom wanted to play, and Steve was
like, yeah, but no, it's absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah. Congratulations from everybody here, Roomy. The sleepless nights now for the next few years.
Yeah, that's one thing Cots didn't mention, but
sleepless
night. Look forward to those, Broomy.
Brilliant, thanks, Chris. We managed to get 20
under half an hour, mate. Yeah. Under half an hour.
So that's Cheltenham Town. Let's go on to Gloucester City. Before we go into your game, it was announced yesterday that former City player John Johnson had passed away at the age of 64.
Yeah, I was absolutely glad that he was genuinely, people say it, he was genuinely my first ever football hero. I wanted to be him. I'd play on a Sunday morning and I'd roll my shorts up to be super short like he used to. He was a great player, one of the fastest players I've ever seen on a football pitch. He was electric pace.
He made 108 appearances and scored 49 goals for you guys.
Yeah, he was on the shoulder of a centre-back and the ball's played over the top. There ain't nobody catching him. He was just gone. And he missed a few. He blazed a few over the bar, but he was really exciting to watch. Top bloke. Very, very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, very young age, 64 to go. But like I said, I said on X that you said he was your hero. And
he was, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, our condolences go out to his family, of course, at this sad time. Let's go on to the Chertsey game. A game, Dave, I think you were surprised was on.
Yeah, arranging the coaches, it gives me more stress than work or anything else. I know that we've got a coach and the later you cancel it, the more you've got to pay a cancellation fee. And they called the game off midweek and the weather forecast showed it raining Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm thinking this ain't going to be on. And then they called a pitch inspection on Friday lunchtime and said, "Oh, it's not off. It's not playable, but we're working hard on it." And you're thinking this is just going to be one of those. And then they called another pitch inspection at 8:30 on Saturday morning. So I'm speaking to the coach company, said, "Look, I haven't got an answer yet. But then they post a picture of their ground and it looked like bloody Wembley. It looked fantastic. Fair play to them. They got the game on. I mean, it wasn't quite as good as the picture looked, but it was, perfectly playable and it was a really good surface. So well done to those at Chertsey getting the game on, and we had a good trip down there.
Yeah. Talk us through, Dave, on your part, because obviously, a lot of people don't see this. Is obviously what sort of stress is it for you, when you're arranging travel and the cost of cancellation and I know if you travel down,
you almost be less stressful if it was your own money. But it's not. It's the supporters trust funds, so you don't want to be wasting it. So yeah, it's quite. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but yeah, it's one of those. We've had games where we've went all the way down to Truro once, and referee walked out at 10-3 onto the pitch, and just looked at it and went no, and we all turned around and came home. So these things happen. Can be a bit stressful, but it's all right. I wouldn't do it if it was too bad.
If you would have got down there, you would have been reimbursed for travel, would you? Because the club do, don't they? If the club get down and it's called off, they get reimbursed for the travel cost and stuff like that. So
I believe
supporters
Supporters Trust don't get anything back. We'd have had to pay 700 quid if we'd have set off. The coach was 700 quid yesterday. We'd have had to pay half of that if it was called off on the day. Bayliss, I'll just give them a shout out. They're amazing. They couldn't be more helpful. And they actually said, if we have to call it off late on this occasion, we totally understand. So just cover the driver's wages for the day if we had to call it off. So that made me feel a little bit less stressed. But thankfully, we didn't have to call it off at all. And it got off a little bit late. They had a bit of a problem with the coach, but we got there in plenty of time, and it was a pretty full coach, and it was a good day out to a nice little place.
Just a shout out to the on the way back yesterday. I stopped at Beaconsfield services, and the Altrincham team coach was there, and all the players were getting back on. They obviously set off to Woking, got to Woking. The game had been called off.
Oh, no.
And that's a long journey, isn't it?
It is.
But onto the game, Dave. In the start, well, not in the starting lineup, in the squad. And under 18s, Callum Tighe on the bench. What was
we're a bit light in numbers, so it's good to see the youngsters getting on the bench, getting a bit of experience. Pinchy was out, big loss. He was unwell, so maybe he'd mixed with a Cheltenham player and caught a stomach bug or something. I don't know, but yeah, we were without him, so we are a bit light on numbers at the moment. But we've brought a couple in.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, Can we borrow 27, Sean? So yeah, it was a competitive lineup. Happy with it. We had Kane up front. So yeah, we went into the game hoping for a win.
Yep. And it seemed like early on, your two new boys, Siddle and Mohammed, started the game really well.
Yeah, Mohammed's class act. It's one of those. It's lovely having a defender that you just don't have any of that, anxiety when the ball's played back to him. He's always so calm under pressure. Him and O'Regan at the back look a great combination. And Riley Siddle on the left wing is a very, very good player. So we started pretty well, passing the ball about on a good surface, and it all started pretty well.
Yeah, the first chance came to first real chance came to Kane Simpson. He goes around the goalkeeper and it's cleared off the line with his head. Is this one of the handballs you was on about, Dave?
Yeah, it wasn't. His head hit the post and his hand hit the ball. We were right behind the goal, so he stopped it going in on the line with his hand. But referee wasn't interested. More worried about the bloke's head hitting the post, which it did, to be fair. But he was all right. He had a bit of treatment and then carried on. But yeah, that should have been a penalty without a doubt.
It was more his hand, was it?
Well, yeah.
It didn't matter because 6 minutes later, a man again, Joe Hanks, his 11th goal of the season. Brilliant team goal.
Yeah, it was really, really excellent team goal. Nice passing football, got it out wide, got behind the right back, pulled across, and from not many yards, Hanks did what he does best and arrived late in the box and popped it in, and we're 1-0 up.
Brilliant. And you just mentioned Mohammed started off for you guys in the 33rd minute, goes around goes 1-on-1, but just puts it wide. What's a defender doing going 1-on-1?
He brings the ball out really well out of defence, like a bit Hansen-esque before your time probably, but yeah, he gets the ball and he's quite adept at sort of beating a man and turning defence into attack. And yeah, it was a good opportunity, but it wasn't to be.
So it was a run like kind of what Pinchard would do, but it was a finish what a defender would do.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's just talk about him, Dave, because obviously he's come from West Brom. You've been absolutely like raving about him, about what he's done, and he's a young lad. It's obviously his first proper loan. It's going to be tough at Southern Premier League levels.
He's a young player. I think centre back often young centre backs, they don't really come into their prime, I don't think, until their mid to late 20s centre backs. So you kind of expect them to, you're worried they're going to get bullied, but there ain't none of that about him. He's big, strong lad, 6'5", great on the ball, reads the game well. I think he's going to have a really big career. I mean, when he came to us, there was a few. I had a little stalk on the West Brom Twitter, and a good few of them were saying like he shouldn't be sent on, like he should be in our first team squad. They rate him that highly, and I can't say I disagree with them, to be honest. Okay, he's playing Southern Prem, but he looks so comfortable and he's so young that I've got no doubt when he goes back to West Brom, he will be looking to push on and get first team action. But hopefully we're going to be keeping him for the season, so that would be good.
Yeah, it seems like he's doing really well. The way the first half was going, David, it seemed like it was all City. Was you disappointed only going 1-0 at half time?
Yeah, we had a lot of chances, but just couldn't get the ball over the line, largely due to a really good performance from their keeper. He had a bit of a dodgy haircut, but he was a top bloke. Really good lad, only really young, but he made a number of outstanding saves. Maybe helped by the fact that a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 times it was just the keeper to beat, and we just put it too close to him. But he managed to do everything else of him, stopped it going in the net, apart from Hanks's, which he could have done nothing about. It was from a couple of yards. So, yeah, he kept them in the game, I think, really. And we could well have been more than 1-0 up at half time, but we weren't. So that's how we went in.
What would a Daft's message been at half time? Because obviously you dominated, and let's not forget this.
I think he'd have just. I imagine he'd have just said, "Carry on doing what you're doing," and we did. We passed the ball about well. We were creating chances regularly, and just we weren't going in, but we were doing nothing wrong.
Yeah, because obviously let's not forget this is a game where you could pretty much shut the door on Chertsey, at least catching you anyway, which is is unlikely. So it was a big game. Obviously, the important thing when you're on top is we see it all the time. Forest Green, Cheltenham, you're on top. You've got to take your chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, the very slow start to the second half because within 2 minutes they're level.
Yeah, I was at the other end, and as I always say, so I didn't really get a great view of it. But yeah, 1-1. Was it 48th minute, I think, which puts you on the back foot, and you think, oh, here we go. But when that went in, we carried on playing as we had been before, to be honest, and we continued. I was confident we'd patient. If we kept patient, the chance and the finish would come, and we'd win the game, and we did go back ahead. Yeah,
before that, King Simpson again, another shot cleared off the line. Was that the second handball you were shooting for, Dave? You said there was 2.
I'm not sure that was it. There was about 2 or 3 handballs in the area, which were handball that did hit a Chertsey player's hand, but there was only 1 or 2 that you would say were, that is a penalty. When it's battered at you from a yard, then and it hits your arm, then you can understand why those aren't given, and you can equally be puzzled when they are given, which is exactly what happened later on.
We said about Kane Simpson, like he had that little bit of a rest, obviously, for circumstances, which was before he joined the club. But he seemed to be involved in everything yesterday.
Yeah, he was good. He was lively. He was causing them trouble all game, working hard. I don't know whether their centre backs were very slow, but the number of times the ball was played down the channels and he outpaced their defender to get to the ball first and get across into the box was happening time and time again. And I wouldn't really say he's no slouch, but I wouldn't say searing pace is part of Kane Simpson's game, but yeah, he had the measure for pace of their defence, and he was a thorn in their side all afternoon.
Yeah. Just past the hour, as you said, you carried on playing how you was. Another shot cleared off the line, but this time it falls to Hanksy, gets his 12th goal of the season. He's having a brilliant season.
A sort of sock cross that was going right into the very far top corner. Their keeper did amazingly well to get a fingertip on it and pushed it onto the inside of the post just below the crossbar, but it dropped down. It literally dropped back onto the line, and who else is going to get there first than Mr. Hanks? And he just banged it in from about 4 inches, and 2-1.
He's having a brilliant season, Dave, isn't he, Hanksy?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's because the way Daft plays and rotates, he's not always starting, but whenever he does, he's always. I'd always have him in my side, Joe Hanks. He's always a player that if you need a goal, you fancy him to get one for you.
But there's levels in it. You've got a good finisher, and then you've also got players who find always landing on the right moment. And
He's
that's
just got that knack, Lampard-esque, of just arriving in the box just at the right time, whether it's a pullback or a ball across the 6-yard area. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time, and he can finish.
Yeah, City then seemed to not from the 60th minute, but later in the game, City seemed to sit in and kind of soak up the Chelsea pressure. Was they really testing you, Dave?
A team 2 one day, and they've got less and less to lose, haven't they? They started throwing more and more men forward, and they had a lot of the ball, but we looked pretty comfortable. Jared made a couple of good saves, but I was confident at that stage we were going to hang on for the 3 points.
Well, let's get on to those final stages. Before the penalty, 90th minute, Spence gets sent off. It's the 8th red card for City this season.
Weird one. I've seen it back once on a rather grainy, possibly VO CCTV footage. It's just the ball is a set piece, and they're sort of, a bit of tussling in the box before the set piece is played in, and it looks he's with a defender, and they're sort of manhandling each other, and then there's a sort of coming together of heads, sort of like, we call it a headbutt. It's not in the sort of Duncan Ferguson type of headbutt, more of a Julian Clary type of headbutt. Is that sort of like just heads sort of pushed together, and it looked on the footage, and I think we're appealing it, so that I think that's a general consensus, that the other guy definitely had more of a forward action with his head. It looked like, if anything, the other guy had rather lamely headbutted Sean Spence, but the referee just blew up and just gave him a straight red card.
What I seen of it, David, looked like they were sort of grappling, wasn't it? And it looked like Spence pushes him off rather than headbutts him.
Yeah. It was something you'd say, if that's a sending off, then there'd be a sending off every corner in like every football match that's played nowadays. That's what they do, isn't it? They just all over each other, grappling away. It was nowhere near the 6-yard box. It was like towards the corner of the 18-yard area. So it was like, it wasn't, I don't know, it was one of those, isn't it? But how many times have we said this? You give the referee a decision to make, and I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? What do you do if somebody's like manhandling you? You can't just let them pull you about. You've got to get your shoulders out and stick up for yourself. He's given the referee a decision to make, but he actually hasn't. He's given the linesman a decision to make, because the referee was right at the other side. It was the linesman who called the referee over and told him that he'd headbutted him. So, and he got his marching orders. So that's in about the 94th minute, I think.
Yeah, we've spoken about it a lot, and we've even got to the point where we've got a bit of competition where who's going to keep the most clean sheets, who's going to have the most. Forest Green had the most clean sheets, or you the most red cards. Now I think Forest Green sit on 10. You're now on 8.
Yeah, giving them a run for the money, haven't we?
Daft doesn't seem to be a manager to me that will accept nonsense, players ill discipline. So are you surprised?
I'd agree, but if there was, as I've said on previous pods, I generally can't think of one real instance where we've had a red card where I thought, he's let the side down there by doing something really stupid. The worst one was like probably Ed Williams pushing that guy's arm and falling over and getting a red card for punching him, and then that was rescinded, which doesn't help you after the event. But I don't think there is. I mean, some City fans say, well, and I accept the facts speak for themselves. I would say that in Latin if I was John Hammonds, but I can't remember what it is. But we've had 8 red cards, so obviously, that's an issue. But I looking at each individual incident, I honestly don't think any of them were particularly petulant or ill-disciplined or rash. They were we seem to be being on the wrong end of very, very dodgy decisions, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, talking about decisions, it wasn't literally minutes later, it got worse for City, a penalty, and you're questioning whether it was, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, it was, as I said earlier on, the ball was struck at our player from 2 yards at 100 miles an hour, and he couldn't possibly get out of the way of it, in the same way that had happened a couple of times in the first half at the other end, or at the same end, actually, because we'd switched ends. And the referee waved those away. But on this occasion, he was couldn't wait to point to the spot and give him a penalty. When if it's consistency, isn't it? If he'd given the other penalties for the ball touching that arm in the box when the ball struck from no distance with power at somebody, then you'd say, well, that's fair enough. That's what he gives. But to not give 2 previously and then give that one in the last minute is a bit gutting. But he gave it, and then as the ball was placed on the spot, their keeper, who really was a bit of a ledge, turned around and said, "Don't worry, lads, he's shit at penalties," excuse my language, which made us laugh. But unfortunately, he was proved to be incorrect when he sent JT the wrong way and stuck it in. So, 2-2.
It's got to be gut wrenching, though, like you said, because if you look at the before we get on to Dasford, if you look at the day, obviously Poole won, but Walton are having a wobble now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the last 4 games. We were talking a while back, weren't we? Because Forest Green had 4 or 5 tough games coming up, and we did as well. The last 4 games we've played Weymouth, who were top of the form league, had won 4 on the bounce, and we had 3 playoff contenders away in 4 games. And after the equaliser went in, you felt deflated. But then you look at the figures, and in those 4 games, which on paper were really, really tough games, we've remained unbeaten. We've won 2, drawn 2, got 8 points, 2 points a game. If somebody offered that at the start, I'd have taken that. So, 2 good away points, and so an away victory and a home victory, 8 points. And Waltham and Hersham have I think they've won 1 in the last 6 or something.
Yeah, they've imploded, and can you see? I know you at the moment, Dave. You're concentrating on finishing second. But can you
concentrate on finishing second and scrapping with Poole and Fairham for second? If they keep slipping up, it's going to end up being a lot closer, and then it could be a situation where I'm not saying it'll be us, but I'm starting to wonder if there's a chance that us or Farnham or Poole will catch them if they carry on wobbling like they had. One of their fans said on Twitter, we need to get a proper manager because they don't feel that they've replaced the guy that left to go to Yeovil.
Yeah.
So if I hope they don't. I mean, if they carry on having a wobble and the chasing pack get closer and closer, then who knows? But we've got this really tough little run out the way. We've got, no disrespect at all to any club, but we've got Wimborne. We've got Wimborne at home on Saturday, who I'd be confident we will beat. And we've got a massive, massive game away at Poole, which could be pivotal. And then the rest of the games, you look at them, up until the last game at home to Walton and Hersham, we've literally got the bottom 8 pretty much. Definitely the bottom 5. I don't think we play apart from the last game, and not including Poole. I don't think we play anybody who's in the top 10 or 12. So we've got a lot of winnable games coming up. If we can put a run together and get the points we really should get from those games, we could make it interesting.
Well, I'm just looking at their fixtures now. Walton and Hersham. On Tuesday they're away to Plymouth Parkway, and they're at Saturday they're home to Basingstoke. Then they got Yates, and then they start March with an away game at Avon and Water Blueville. That'll be telling, because some of those games I just mentioned now, you'd expect them to win, wouldn't you?
But wouldn't you expect them to go and beat Hungerford?
Yeah, good point.
Hungerford have releasing play. Having lived in Hungerford for 12 years, I've got a lot of friends in Hungerford, and I speak to one, give him a shout out in case he listens, Brett, who's a Hungerford fan, goes home and away, and I speak to him every week, after the game, after Saturday, we always have a little chat about the weekend, and he's like, "Oh, we're just going down, relegation." With no doubt. They released a statement saying that they were going to have to cut the wage budget due to financial constraints, and they've released loads of players and brought players in from a lower level and youngsters, and then they go and turn. They drew with Walton and Hersham at Walton and Hersham. They've beaten them at Bullpit Lane. They've got results against, I think, Farnham. They're pulling some real results out the bag, and there's a lot of teams in our division who are capable of doing that. It could happen to us. We could get turned over by anybody, but the way Walton and Hersham are playing at the moment, you wouldn't be going in my accumulator on a Saturday to win any game.
Well, the big thing is like I said, it's just like Dav said, and he always says after every game, is the next game is the important one. If you keep doing your job, even Poole, they keep doing their job. Who knows, that last game of the season when you play them, it could be a 3-way title decider, if you know what I mean.
4-way.
Or 4-way, yeah. Yeah, well, because you're Farnham, they've still got 5 games in hand, haven't they?
Yeah. And they won yesterday. So I was harping on about the fact that they they had 5 games in hand on us, but we were 11 points ahead. And I said to somebody, if we had 5 games in hand, would you, if somebody offered you 11 points from those 5 games, would you take it? And you would, wouldn't you? I mean, it's over
even
2
if they
points
win
a
all
game.
that, that's only 3 points ahead they can go, which is unlikely they're going to win
them all.
5.
Yeah, exactly that. So could do with them losing a couple or drawing a couple, or every team involved in this little exciting little scrap coming towards the end of the season is going to drop points. It's just a question of who drops the most.
Yeah, definitely. On to Daft's thoughts after the game, he was actually quite, as well as being agitated, he was pleased with City. He said he thought City were excellent for the majority of the game. He said plenty of chances to kill the game off. He said, but we need to look at ourselves on that. Just a bit more composure, Dave, in front of goal.
Yeah, but it's one of those, and it's another day. It's fine margins, isn't it? You get these chances that it deflects off someone's knee on the line. 3 out of 4, it goes in the top corner. That one day it just squeezes past the post. We just seem to be having a lot of that lately. But at the risk of sounding like Sean, one of these days we're going to have a day when it will happen sooner or later that we get the rub of the green and all those little chances, and we'll beat somebody 6-0. Hopefully Saturday.
He says, if I say what I want to say, he said, I'll be in trouble. He wasn't very happy.
You can just sense, can't you, the frustration in him at the rub of the green we're getting with referees. I'm not going to sit here and say referees are biased. They're not. But I think that sometimes they're just weak, and sometimes they just want to be the centre of attention, and that's what I hate more than anything else. The best referees are the ones at the end of the game, somebody says, what was the referee like? And you go, I don't know, really, I didn't really notice him, and that's what you want. But these ones who strut about and just want to negate the game's about them and absolutely bursting to give a decision in the last minute. It drives you potty. But it is what it is, isn't it? Players make mistakes, and so do referees. And unfortunately, we seem to be on the wrong end of them a lot of the time lately. But
yeah, he said
the tide will turn.
But he said you could sense the incidents that were coming, just the way the game was going. He said he feels deflated. Said Spence gets head-butted, then gets sent off. Fell on Anksy for their goal. Handball on the edge of the box. He just seemed frustrated.
He seemed like he was seriously biting his tongue. And I had a little chat with him on Messenger after the game, and he was really cross. but he'll cold light a day tomorrow. We've averaged 2 points a game from those last 4 games. That's a good return. We should have hung on and that should have been 12 points from 4 games, but it's not. It is what it is, and you can only move forward to the next game, as he always says. And we just have to go and make sure we beat Wimborne on Saturday and keep up the pressure on the top.
Does Daft listen to the pod?
I don't know if he does, to be honest.
But if he does, we'll have to get him on soon. We keep saying
it would be really good to get him on. He talks really well, as you can see from the interviews, and he's a top fellow. And him and Colin have both said they're happy to come on.
Yeah, so, no, we've got to do. We've done some of a Cheltenham, we've done some of Forest Green 20 times. So I think we've got to do some of a City, but it's just been like just trying to fit it in. But we'll talk after the pod, Dave, and we'll get something arranged. Thanks for that, Dave.
That's all right, mate.
That's Gloucester City. Let's go on to Forest Green Rovers. Sean, let's go on the Forest Green, Sean. Obviously sponsored by Lemon Discos. We'll start off with Tuesday night. Forest Green at home to Rochdale. Sean, we made a joke last week about Forest Green trying to keep up with Cheltenham and Gloucester with starting the games poorly. It was Forest Green's turn again this week.
Yeah. Obviously I was at work, so I can't really say too much on the game. Obviously I had a message more or less straight away, just saying Rochdale had gone 1-0 up, which is frustrating because they're a team that when you go 1-0 up, they can see it out normally. I
keep a lot of clean sheets, Rochdale, don't they?
Yeah, they do. You wouldn't know about that, but they do. Yeah. But yeah, I caught the tail end of the first half. And to be honest, I thought probably from what I saw in that last bit of the first half it was all Forest Green. And then we were dominating the ball and chances and putting the pressure on them. And to be honest, I thought half time came at the wrong time. It was one of them moments where you just feel you needed the half to go on a little bit longer because they were struggling to get out. But then obviously half time come and they can regroup a little bit, then can't they?
Yeah. I thought the best chance that the half came for Rovers anyway. It came to Ricardo Reece, and I've actually spoke to Robbie about this. And Robbie thinks I'm being a bit harsh, but I think he should be placing it with a player as good as finishing as Ricardo Reece is. I think he should be placing it either side of the goalkeeper, but just hammers it straight at him, doesn't he?
Yeah, if I remember rightly, because I think I saw that. I thought he could have probably took it in a little bit closer. I thought he took it a little bit early, and I think it was on his left foot, which we know he can score with his left foot. He's predominantly right-footed, isn't he? So, but yeah, it's one of them where you kind of expect him to finish that off. So he was a little bit unlucky there not to get that goal.
Yeah. The commentary said whilst I was watching the game, they was actually quite positive about Forest Green. They said, Rochdale, to be fair, I thought first half not had, and Chris, you watched the game as well, didn't have a huge amount of chances. They had one or two good chances, but they had some really brilliant openings. And this is what we've spoken about with Forest Green all season, haven't we? About the openings and not taking the shot when they should be. Would you say that was fair, Sean, Chris?
Did you asking Chris or me?
Well, both. I know you missed half of the first half, and I know Chris watched some of it. Would you say that was a fair analysis?
Yes, it is pretty fair to be fair. Yes, Forest Green have always created a lot and struggled to put it in the back of the net, and they've signed about 359 players to try and fix that, and it apparently can't be fixed. It's one of them. You just don't seem to be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. Like I said, Sean, the commentary did say that, with Rochdale having their chances, that was credit to Forest Green because Forest Green went and had a go, where a lot of teams, even Carlisle, who were obviously sitting third at the time when they played in the week before, he said just sat back. So it does show that you guys like to get on the front foot. And
well, yeah, that's obviously the style that we try and do. I was chatting to a Carlisle fan yesterday, and he said, obviously, what you just said about Carlisle, Rochdale just sitting back. So he wasn't sure if that's what they were going to do yesterday. But yeah, obviously, we try and get off quickly and just attack them from the off. But individual mistakes that we keep making is making it hard, especially when, like I said, especially when you play a team like Rochdale and you go 1-0 up and they go 1-0 up. It's a bit of a
on the back foot straight away, isn't it?
You get 1-0.
Well, Rovers did get a goal back. Like I said, with all the possession, I thought up until then was more with Rochdale, but I thought they a poorly cleared. The ball comes into the box. I don't think it was poorly cleared, but there was still quite a bit to do for McAllister, and probably the only player on that pitch, in my opinion, who takes that touch, gets it out of his feet, and hammers it so hard, it's past the keeper before he dives.
Yeah, I think you could probably say that's like the result of the pressure that they were under. You see it with a lot of teams when you can't get out, you can't clear your box and what have you. But yeah, I mean, Mac has done that a few times this season, just takes a touch, and he's, in a few games, he's just fired him in that hard. That's what we need. If you don't shoot, you don't score.
Yeah. It's ironic, isn't it? Because obviously I always say to you about McAllister, I think McAllister should be in the EFL without a shadow of a doubt. And it's ironic that he's scored 2 goals in a week against 2 sides who are likely to be in the EFL next season.
Yeah. I think I've said it before. He's probably playing below his level. Obviously, we signed him when we went up to League One. He stuck with us in a double relegation. I'm surprised he's given us a couple of seasons in the National League. I thought he may give us the one. I was kind of half expecting him to go in the summer. So the fact he's still there, yeah, I think that's a surprise. If we don't manage to get anywhere this season out of the National League, then I could probably see him moving on. Yeah,
let's talk about the Ahmed, the role Ahmed played in the goal. He tried to take it past the fullback. The fullback gets a foot to it and is going out for a corner, and a lot of players would have let it go out for a corner. His determination to stop that ball going out and get it back, and obviously that leads to the ball clearance, and then McAllister scores, is a lot of credit for that, because, you know, if Forest Green had gone in 1-0 down at half time, it could have potentially got even worse, kind of thing, because obviously you would have had to chase the game more. But, you know, I thought he played really well Tuesday night.
Yeah, obviously,
Apart from the goal, obviously.
He obviously recently came in, and I think we covered it with the York game. You can see he's keen. I think, you know, he tried, like in that York game, he tried, you know, he's a bit naive. He tried to be a bit overly keen to, you know, win the ball then. Obviously Tuesday night it's paid off. But yeah, I mean, he's still a young lad, who's, you know, and he's created a goal, which is good. Obviously I guess you could say he's made a mistake in one game or 2 games maybe now. But that's going to happen. But no, he does look good. He looks good down the right.
He did. I thought he played really well. Obviously, go in half-time 1-1. You know, I didn't think Rovers needed to change a lot. You know, like I said, I stick by what I say. Rochdale were really good up until Forest Green scored. And, you know, so it goes in 1-1 at half-time. The first chance in the second half came from a corner, from a Rochdale corner, and that was cleared off the line. Did you think, your opinion, Sean, obviously, because like you said, you watched more of the second half, do you think Dale were really good with the ball but wasteful in chances? Because I thought the way they did their transition from when they picked the ball up on the edge of the box, because they wasn't just hoofing it, was that they was trying to play out. Their transition was really good, wasn't it?
To be honest, no. I didn't see a lot of the second half. I was at work. So I caught the tail end of the first half, flicked it off, obviously, when it went to half time. And then by the time I got it back on, it was like the tail end of the second half. But I was quite hopeful when we came out. Well, obviously at half time, I was chatting to a lad and I was just saying, you know, with the pressure we was applying in the first half, I thought we may come out in the second half and keep it on. Obviously, it's always tough. Like I said, you don't want half time to come. But no, I think I said it before. Rochdale are good when they get the ball. It's hard. They're very good with it. They sort of suffocate teams. They can suffocate teams as well in the league. I think that goes to show, you know, they've had a lot of. They don't score many, but they don't concede many. So I think you can see when they do score and they win by 1 goal, that's what I'm on about. They suffocate teams and they just keep the ball really well.
Yeah, I thought they kept it with purpose. You know, where they played for the lines and all, it was really good. They take the lead, Sean, in the 65th minute. You talked about the role Ahmed played in. I think it's a bit harsh on Ahmed if anybody blames him, because he's given the ball in an area that he shouldn't really be given the ball with. But then Bunker drops deep, doesn't he? Rather than just keeping the line, and then obviously the Rochdale lads just stood on the penalty spot on his own. Ball gets nicked off Ahmed, played in straight away. Good finish. Disappointing the way it came.
Yeah, I think Robbie picked up on that in his interview after the game. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say on, you know, some of the goals that we're conceding. But I think, yeah, we've got to get stronger defensively.
Yeah. Dale could have killed the game off after, and I still sit here and I scratch my head how it didn't go in. When it was blocked on the line, their player literally jumps in 2-footed, nowhere near the Forest Green player, by the way, but jumps in 2-footed, misses the ball, and the ball just trickles across the line. Everybody's kicking each other, and then the ball gets cleared. It was a mad scramble.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't, honestly, I was at work, so I can't really comment too much on the second half. Like I said, you and Chris know more than I do.
In my opinion, I don't think Forest Green was just disgraced. I didn't think Forest Green played poor. I think Forest Green played okay. I just thought that the quality and the know-how in certain areas of the pitch, I think, you know, won Rochdale the game, game management in all. But obviously disappointing, Sean. But it's no shame. It's not no shame going up there losing, is it? Because a lot of teams have done it.
Like I said, I caught the tail end of the first half. I caught the tail end of the second half. And obviously the second half, I think, again, we were probably applying a bit of the pressure, but we just couldn't find that equalising goal. Overall, I think the performance was okay against the team who's, you know, top of the league, and they're half kind of running away with it, and they really. They got a couple of games in hand on York.
Yeah.
So it was always going to be a tough game. But yeah, I mean, after the first, like I said, after the sort of second part of the first half, I was kind of hoping we were going to kick on.
Yeah. Well, let's go on to the game you was at. I know you'd rather us not. You had a day of hospitality, Sean, so that was obviously one positive for the game.
Well, you can eat falafels. Beautiful.
As much lettuce as you like.
Kill your boots.
And that's why he was in the pub after eating that crispy chicken.
Don't say that. You're on the phone.
Don't tell Dale, Jesus.
Right, you're not allowed to eat chicken.
Sure. So, despite your recent form, third's still fully on, because obviously Robbie conceded the league a few weeks ago. I think it's obvious now, but third's still on. Obviously, if you beat Carlisle yesterday, it goes to within 1 point. But the detrimental part of it was you lose, and it was 7 points. So again, it was another big opportunity for Rovers, because obviously getting in that the second or third now is a must, isn't it, for you to not play the 3 game to potentially get promoted. So again, a worst possible start. 11 minutes on the clock. Now we have our opinions on games, and we don't always see the same, whether that's with Robbie, whether that's with you, whether it's each other's games. But I think the one thing we can agree on, the first goal was a shambles, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought Oisted probably should have put his foot through it and just levered it down the pitch. Obviously he's tried to play it out. Carnu, for me, is half asleep. He's waiting for the ball rather than going to the ball. I think one of the basics in football is you go to the ball. You don't just wait for it to come to you, especially when it's on the edge of your own box, and you try and deal with the situation properly. But yeah, I mean, it's just the story of the last, second half of the season, isn't it? We're just giving goals away.
Yeah. Robbie did say after the game, when he was talking to DAZN, he did kind of blame Oisted. He name-checked Oisted and said, well, Oisted should have done this. Now, I agree what you just said there, Sean. Yeah, maybe Oisted should have just put his foot for the ball. But I think Canu plays a part in that as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Like I said, I think Oisted probably already knows. He probably should have put his foot through it. He saved us a fair few, points since he's joined us. You can kind of forgive him, making a mistake, but his defence don't really help him out. And probably sounds a little bit harsh, and I don't know, I doubt Robbie would be very happy to hear me say it, but I don't think our defence have helped him out much at all, since he's joined us. And I think that goes to show with the individual errors that we keep making. And yeah, it's causing us every single time we make a mistake, we're getting punished every single time.
Yeah, because I personally, I thought when the ball came to him, yeah, you could probably say Harry could have put his foot through it and not put him in that situation, but still, you would expect the defender to shield it with his body, but he just sort of let the Carlisle player nick in front of him, and that's
what I mean. He's just not helped him out at all. I know everyone keeps going on about experience, and I know Robbie said Oisted's experienced, which, yeah, he's probably got a point. But I also think if there's someone else, like a leader there, like a Jordan Moore Taylor or Ryan Innes, they're probably going to be screaming at Oisted to put his foot through it and not want that ball. So, I guess, and unless you get that situation again and there's someone with a bit more leadership at the back, I guess you won't know, but I just think they'd be screaming at him to just lever it.
You're right, Sean. I don't think you could analyse that any better, because funny enough, yesterday I was watching, and I know Joe Day's in his 30s. He's an experienced goalkeeper, but I was watching Wilson, again, experienced defender. He was pointing left and right all the time, telling Joe Day where to go. So you're right, that experienced Ed will even talk to an experienced goalkeeper, would tell him, get rid of it or go right to the right because there's space. So it's a fair comment. But obviously it got even worse for you guys. 22nd minute, Carlisle go 2 up. Do you say the disappointing one with this, Sean, is the fact that they allowed to win 2 headers in your box?
I think, yeah, but I think that had been going all half. We hadn't been winning I think you were watching on the telly, so you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think from where I was, we were winning any first or second contact anywhere on the pitch.
It was
And-
2 completely free headers as well,
And then
by the
in
way.
the box is criminal.
Yeah, I thought that, and I don't want to like skip through the first half, but I thought when you put Kirko on at halftime, that changed. I thought the lad won a lot in the air. I thought he looked a bit more assured at the back, but we'll get on to that. But yeah, winning, like Chris just said, it was 2 free headers. I thought the lad was offside at first, but when the replay come on, he's just stood on the edge of the 6-yard box and puts it in from 5-6 yards out. That can't happen, can it?
No, I mean, obviously, you would have had the benefit of a replay. I looked straight at the linesman actually to see if he put his flag up, and he kept it down. So, yeah, I mean, it's just criminal. Like I said, without trying to skip the first half, I think that's probably one of the worst first halves of football we've seen this season.
Yeah, straight after the second goal, Nick Orton got taken off. He didn't look happy when the camera went on him.
Yeah, obviously, Robbie apologised in his interview after the game. I don't think that was down to Nick Orton's performance. I think Robbie was just trying to change a little bit going forward. I think he changed formation. I think he said he went to a 4-4-2 at that point. Obviously, so he was trying to change the course of, the game and react early. Like I said, I don't think that was any sort of poor part on Nick Orton. I think he's just a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, just on that change of
any of the players. Do you know what I mean?
No, you could have. And just on that one, Sean. Obviously, again, this is something I picked up offline. A fan said, and I'm not naive enough to think that this can't happen because managers do it all the time. They change it. But one of your fans did say that we change too much in the game and the players are confused and don't know what they're doing. Do you think that's an harsh comment, or do you think that's fair?
I guess to a point you say it's fair. I think I've said it last week. Sometimes I think we can be a bit reactive when things aren't going for us. But to be honest, that said, I mean, if I had been the manager yesterday, I think I'd have been very reactive, and I probably wouldn't have just taken off Nick Orton after 25 minutes. I think that half yesterday it's a tough one, isn't it? As a manager, and your team goes 3-0 down like that, what do? Do you leave it and hope they can pull you out of it, or do you try and change it to try and salvage something? 3 goals. It's tough to come out in the second half and, score 3 or 4 goals to try and draw or win the game. So if you can try and get one back before half time. But yeah, I mean, they've got a point I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. But he replaced obviously Orton with it. Is it Osude? Osude. How do you think he did?
I thought he looked good to a point. I think this is, he's got the pace, and you can see that he's sort of like nips in front of players, and he had a lot about him. It was not just him, but I thought our final ball yesterday, our crossing into the box, was absolutely terrible. I thought when he did nip him, he didn't seem to hit the ball cleanly when he was trying to get a shot off or crossing. But again, he's only just joined. He's probably barely trained with the players. So I think, I'm not going to be too harsh on him because he hasn't even really had a chance to settle in. But I thought he looked okay. Over time, you may see him cause a lot of havoc. Honestly, he's one of the quickest players I think I've ever seen in my life. And he's just got that, he can touch a ball probably 10 yards, give the player 5 yards on him, and he can probably still get around him. So I think he's going to be a right handful. Obviously, I thought he did okay. I thought it was just the final contact in his play that was missing.
Well, I was looking at yesterday because, again, I always say to you after the game, I go online and I try and get like the general feeling of fans, and I it's like you filter out some of the rubbish. Like you always get the fans who talk absolute tripe, and then you get the fans who have got kind of like a sensible opinion. So I try and
you ignore everything that Sean says, then, yeah.
I try not to go online after a game.
Yeah, that's the best way, mate. Obviously, on our last pod, Sean, we were talking about the squad, and you said, I don't want to see any more signings. So obviously, I think it took everybody by surprise this lad's come in. Now, the one comment I saw online
I wasn't
was,
surprised.
the one comment I did see online was the one lad turns around and says, hang on, I'm just trying to find it now. Every time we play against a team lower than us in the league who has a player who plays well against us, we go and sign him. Babalola. So I decided to have a look at who you've signed off the back of a performance, but got Babalola. You've obviously signed him after playing against Worthing in the FA Cup. This lad here, obviously your own Twitter page put out, he's the fastest player I've ever seen. And then he turns up on your doorstep the week after. What I'm getting at is, like, some people are obviously question some of the recruitment. Do you think the recruitment's reactive, or do you think it's planned? It does. You can see why they're asking that, because it does seem a very reactive approach, doesn't it?
Well, obviously, in the Carol Emery week before the game, Robbie obviously done his speech, and he said that we were after a Sude in the summer, but we couldn't get him then. And then we managed to get him, obviously, this week. So I don't know. I mean, only Robbie, I guess, could probably answer that. I reckon if he seemed to think we was after him in the summer. So,
but he doesn't turn Forest Green down for Woking. I know we have our banter about things, but ambitions.
I guess it depends on how you see that player, doesn't it? Like, if he wanted to be guaranteed game time, maybe Forest Green couldn't guarantee him that in the summer.
He wasn't being picked all the time for Woking, then, was he? I've had a few Woking, Woking fans
start of the
said
season, he may not have known that.
He spent a lot of the time on the bench at Woking. So.
Yeah, at the start of the season, he may not have known that. I think reading through their comments when we signed him, a lot of their fans were sort of saying that they felt he deserved more minutes, but Neil Ardley apparently didn't give it to him. So I guess they might have all been expecting him to be a starter. And then, like I said, our circumstances change through the season and get injuries and things, and your squad gets a little bit light, so you have to add to it.
But the thing is,
really like squad Forest Green. I've got
like an elephant.
The thing is, we all have our laughs that we joke about it. And I was surprised with this one, because I said to you, Sean, that after the Woking game, I said they were awful to a man. I said you conceded 2 against them. I don't know, because I thought they was awful. But is he a player who probably suits a Forest Green, but doesn't suit a side like Woking, who are going to be very defensive most of the time against a lot of teams where you play on the front foot, so he might might be a better player for you than he will for them?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think his pace will suit us and him better for what we're trying to do. He can sort of play anywhere across the front. He can play left, right, sort of number 10, and through the middle, like up front. I think yesterday, obviously, Robbie changed to a 4-4-2, bringing him on, so he was kind of up front with Reece. So yeah, I mean, I think it'd benefit us. I think in the long term, I think it could prove to be a key signing. He's got, from what I understand, he's got the most goal involvements from the bench for Woking.
Well, I suppose with that pace and coming on against Lack of defender.
When you're a defender and you're in the second half, that's kind of the last thing you want, isn't it? So, I mean, yeah, I think he could prove to be a good signing. So, I guess we've got to just give him a chance to settle. Like I said, he only signed a couple of days ago, so he's probably barely trained.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Obviously, it did get worse for you, Sean, on the half-hour mark. I know you said you'd missed the goal, but I'm sure you've seen it since. What a world! Well, I'll break it down. What a worldie! It is an absolutely fantastic goal, but as Robbie would be as a manager and diving into it, he should have been kicked in the air about 3 or 4 times.
I've got to disagree with you there, Dan. I don't think it was a worldie.
Do you know what?
He's run straight down the middle of the pitch. How someone hasn't put even attempted to make a challenge is absolutely criminal.
A tactical yellow card written all over it.
Yeah,
that's what I said. He should have been kicked in the air 4 or 5 times.
But no one seemed interested in even trying to stop him.
Bring him down. Yeah, that's what I mean. He should have been kicked in the air 4 or 5 times before.
I saw a few comments. Quite a few people said what you said, Dan. That it was a good goal. Like I said, I missed the third goal. I went inside and then it was 3-0. But I saw the replay, and how no one's chopped the bastard down, I don't know.
Campbell should have took the booking. He goes in, but very light-hearted. He should just kicked him in the air.
I think there's 3 or 4 players that he runs past. I mean, Campbell's probably the main one, yeah. I think he sort of goes past Campbell and then he makes a late attempt to try and do it afterwards, doesn't he? But yeah, for me, you take him down.
And
do not let him run through like that.
Was it Mendy playing on the right of the back too?
Yeah.
And if you look at Mendy as well, it's criminal because I know the lad's running at pace and, but he turns his back and goes inside. And then, of course, by the time he's turned back around, the lad's putting it into the back of the net. If he stays face on with him, he makes it harder for that lad to get the shot off. But because he turned his back and he's turning away from him, he's just, that's why I said it's a brilliant goal. But Chris, you're right. And he should have been kicked in the air 5 times before.
He's almost won that from his own box as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. The ball was passed
he picked the ball up literally halfway inside his own half.
Yeah, it was about 25
and just
yards.
ran pretty much in a straight line.
I was going to say,
until the end, where he
ran through
goes
3 or
to
4
the side
players
and then just puts it in.
So, I mean, yeah, for me, just take him out. Just don't let that happen. So
it was you could probably go in the half. You could probably go and take that clip of that goal, take the commentary from Ryan Giggs in the 1998-99 season again in the FA Cup semi-final and put that commentary on there because he just weaved and weaved. And I was just like, you get fouled him. And I was like, he's still going. It was great. If I was scoring for Cheltenham, I'd be banging the drum saying what a worldie. But as a manager, I'm sure Robbie Savage is looking at that goal going, you should have kicked him. You should have brought him down. You shouldn't have turned your back. And obviously the keeper couldn't do anything about it.
For me, that goal was an example of, in my opinion, of Forest Green in that entire game. There were 3 or 4 players on that pitch that did not look interested at all throughout that entire game for me. And Robbie hasn't got my phone number, so he can't call me up and try and tell me how to speak, but I'll say what I see. There were 3 or 4 Forest Green players on that pitch that were not interested in playing.
Do you know their names?
I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names, but there were 3 or 4 on that pitch that did not look interested in playing at all for me.
I think did Robbie say that in his interview?
I don't know. I don't listen to Robbie's interviews because they last about 3 years. So I don't listen to them generally. I'm just giving my opinion of what I saw. And there were players that were not interested in playing for Forest Green Rovers yesterday.
Well, I've got this towards the end. So let's talk about it now. Jaden Clark, Sean, on X before the game. It was highlighted by it, which I think is disgusting. I know, David, or you had a bit of a laugh and was like, it's funny. 1, he shouldn't be doing it, but 2, I just find it really disgusting that somebody tags a manager in it and says, "Oh, look what your player's doing." Was you surprised to see him start after that?
Yeah, I think
you can actually say what he did because people might not know.
Without sounding too horrible here, I think Jaden Clark, he needs to take a long hard look at himself as a footballer. Social media is a nightmare for people in jobs and all that sort of stuff. I think he's been brought in by Robbie this season to come and play for Forest Green. His attitude hasn't been great, and to go on X before yesterday, when he must have known he was starting that game, and do what he done.
Are you going to say what he did?
I've just got it out now. The post has been deleted by the author, by the way.
Yeah.
But basically, a Safe End fan tweeted in the week and said something along the lines of, how bad has the coaching got to be at Forest Green Rovers that they go and sign a player every time they lose? And then obviously it was liked by Jaden Clark. And the lad, like I said, Jaden Clark should be doing that, but the lad, in my opinion, is just very snaky to go and go, "Hey, manager, look what he's done." I don't agree with it, but he's put himself in that position. I listened to the first 5 minutes of the Carlisle games. I just got back from Barnet yesterday on the radio, so the first 5 minutes, and it was said by the commentary, which I laughed at. it's come out that he done it accidentally. You don't accidentally like a tweet. I'm sorry, you don't. But when obviously watching the game then and seeing that he started, it was very surprising. Obviously, you just said there, Sean, you was as well.
Yeah, like I said, like you look at, you know, you look at some players in the squad, and I think it's sort of well documented that they're not part of Robbie's plans. And I think, they could train as hard as they wanted, and they're probably not going to get an opportunity in the team. I think with Jalen Clark, he's been brought in by Robbie.
Been one of your better players, and I've said that on a lot of pods.
His attitude's not been great. Some of his performances haven't been great. Now, for someone like him, he needs to get off X. He needs to get his head down. He needs to work hard, and he needs to earn that spot of the team, and he'll get given an opportunity. After that, yesterday, I would be very surprised if we see him again. Personally, I'm surprised he started the game, and I know for a fact if I was a coach, he'd be gone. I wouldn't have him in the team. I think
what I'll say about it is he shouldn't have done it, but he's right.
Whether he's right or not, and what you think, if you're trying to break into that team, you can't be criticising.
From that perspective. From that perspective, yes, I agree with you, Sean.
So if I was Robbie,
but the point is correct. The players aren't going to be happy if you're signing players every week when you lose a game. I'd expect 3 or 4 through the door next week.
They might not be happy, but at the end of the day,
but you shouldn't do it. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't be liking that tweet.
Don't do it. And at the end of the day, if they all, like after that first half yesterday, I mean, I don't know. I mean, none of them. They all need to be getting their head down and working hard.
The thing is, Sean, that obviously that tweet was brought to my attention because somebody, I don't even know who they was, copied, tagged me in it and said, Hoppo, you said this on the pod. And he was referring to that I said to you last week, didn't I, that it's okay having X amount of players, but there's only so long you can keep saying to those players. As you said, Sean, it doesn't matter how hard you train. There's only so many times you can say to those players, keep training hard and you'll be in the side. Now, at the moment, Forest Green are going for a bit of a dip. And so those players who were sat in the stands who have been promised keep training hard are probably knocking on Robbie's door and going, well, we're not playing so well now, so am I going to get the chance? And then they continue to get ignored because a manager will have his group of players he trusts. And it's going to cause a divide in the club. And like I said to you, I spoke to a professional footballer. This is exactly what the professional footballer said. He goes, after a while, little pockets of players pull off in different groups. You will have a negative group who will then feed that into the positive group. And when results don't start going well, the positive group start believing what the negative group is saying. And before you know it, the manager's got a massive problem on his hands. So this is why you always hear. And I know that Robbie says he gets to summer and he's going to, players get released and he'll be able to file the squad down, if you like. But between now and the end of the season, I think Forest Green have got a massive problem where they've got such a massive core of players in their squad that unless Robbie turns around to like 10 of them go, I don't want you anywhere near the football, the training ground, go and train on your own privately or what have you. It's gonna be like go for Forest Green's squad like a plague, isn't it?
Could do. Like I said, I don't know what the feeling is amongst the squad. I don't know who's in the who's in the group for training and who's not. He may have already kept certain players separate from, I guess, the match day squad, if you like. But yeah, I think deep down something needs to change and quick, especially with certain players if that is their attitude.
Yeah, I think defending Robbie here. I think there's some. You're right, Sean. There's a few players that need to look at themselves because if it's the players that he's given a chance from a lower level, I know again we keep going back to we say about the banter and about saying Forest Green not a big club. They're not a big club in my opinion, but they are big. They got out there a club with big ambitions. So some players should be looking at that and going, I'm going to a club who's got a chance to get in the Football League, got a chance to then go again in League Two because they've got an owner who's investing a lot of money. So some of those players need to look at themselves and go, well, I've been given a massive chance to get on this journey and I'm not paying the manager back. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. I think Robbie said it previously a couple of times, he keeps giving players the opportunity and they're not taking it. So he kind of feels that a change is needed. I think like he's said a couple of times, they've got sort of great training facilities. The pitch that they get the play on, and all the way they get treated, for away games and things like that. Seems like some of them are probably taking it a little bit for granted. And I think that they need to be focusing on themselves. I've just watched Gilly's interview after the game. I think he's touched on a lot of that as well. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's been posted late, either really late last night or early this morning. And he has just said that the players need to have a long hard look at themselves, and it can't all be on the manager. So yeah, I think he's spot on that.
Yeah. Well, talking about changes, he did make a couple of changes at halftime, and he brought Mengi on, who gets a goal back for Rovers. It's kind of a typical sort of like Robbie reaction. He makes the subs and he does get a reaction sometimes, doesn't he? Like, it seems like a common thing that if Forest Green have had a real poor first half, they always start the second half really well and you end up getting that goal.
Yeah, I think it's happened quite a few times this season. He make a sub and it sort of seems to pay off. It's one of them where you get a goal back and you're kind of just it's 3-1, so you just got to just keep trying to see if you can get another goal. And if you get another goal, it makes the game a little bit interesting. Obviously, Carlisle I don't know if they automatically sat back deep or whether it was that our players had suddenly had a light bulb turn on and they started to try and do what they were doing. But the second half was a lot better. But again, I think Roberts touched on it in his interview after the game. It's easy to play when you're 3-0 down, in it. It's, no pressure there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I said to you in the group, didn't I, that I thought Carlisle sat back a bit. Some of that would be the fact that Forest Green were going for it, but naturally at 3-0, you're going to go. I would imagine that Mark Hughes' message at halftime was, lads, right, the game's, we've got the game. Now protect that 3-0. Don't go away and give anything stupid away. And obviously they did within the first.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Carlisle is they were missing they're missing a few of their best players. Regan Linney, he's been missing for the last couple of weeks. Georgie Kelly, Chris Clark, I think he's just returning from an injury, so he was on the bench. So I guess from Mark Hughes' point of view, you're 3-0 up and you're probably just trying to see the game out, manage it. Had he have had all his best players available, I think they probably would have smelt blood and tried to go for 5 or 6. You never know. But yeah, I mean, it may have been a bit of both. But like I said, when you're 3-0 down, you've kind of got nothing to lose.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So you've probably take more of a risk.
Yeah, and that's what you was on the front foot, and I thought Carlisle's resilience. And one thing again, we're going to Robbie's faults now because this will go hand in hand. After the game, Ben Tozer was obviously doing punditry for DAZN, and he asked Robbie the question, saying that, do you think that experience was needed? And Robbie did bite back and said, "Oh, well, you had experience last season in the semi-final, and you made mistakes and you lost." But I think what Tozer was saying was Carlisle in that second half, and obviously, Sean, you would have been spitting feathers like we all do. We're all fickle football fans. They was killing the game. They was time wasting. There were keepers going down injured, but that's game management by experienced players, and that's what Tozer was trying to say. And Tozer said that about their third goal, saying, had you had an experienced head on there, a couple of experienced heads, do you think that third goal happens? But Robbie got very defensive and alluded to the semi-final last season.
Yeah, I think obviously, and it's not a dig at Steve Cottrell, it's not a dig at any of the players from last season. Obviously, maybe Robert's got a point. We had experienced players last season, and we didn't go up. Obviously, this season we've done the opposite, and we've got a pretty young squad. At the moment, it's looking unlikely because of the form that we're in. Form is temporary. We could suddenly spin around and all of a sudden just go on a big run to the end of the season. You'd probably say we could be one of the favourites of the playoffs. We don't know. I think what I would say is it's about getting the balance right. I think obviously everybody knows, yes, it's nice to have a young squad. It's nice, they are going to be sort of maybe liable to make mistakes. I think you need a bit of balance in the squad. with a bit of experience and maybe young players. I've got no issues with the way that we're trying to do things. But I think deep down, I think Robbie probably does know. He did say in his speech yesterday that, you know, he's aware that they might lack a bit of experience in the squad, and it's something that they may address in the summer, but not at this current moment. So
Yeah,
that might tell you that the experienced players that they might have in mind aren't available at the moment.
yeah, and he may think that the experience he has in his squad are not good enough, and that's fair. That's fair. He's a manager. He picks a side. I do feel from the outside that, you know, you've got young, long. He's always been slow, but the difference is if you go and have a look at Liverpool, right, and teams like City and all that, they all say oh, like Van Dijk was the best defender in the world, blah blah blah. But the difference is when you're playing, when you've got forwards, Mo Salah, and you got players who are on the front foot. I know we're talking a totally different level here, but what I'm trying to say is that you got players who you're always on the front foot. And the odd chance comes that the team attacks you, your defenders are just so switched on and blah blah. Because, and this is my personal opinion, because I feel that Forest Green is so open, you're likely to get attacked more than at the same amount of times as you're attacking the opposition. Where along, your problem is defending the balls into your box, and that's always been a problem, hasn't it? Where somebody like Along next to an Innis and maybe a Mendy is a player who can bring the ball out from the back. I just think you've got maybe one or two players in your squad. Liam Sercombe, when you signed him, Sean, scored 11 goals in League One, and was replaced by Orton. I know Orton's been brilliant in the National League, but still, in my opinion, he's not better than Liam Sercombe.
I think, obviously, the players that obviously you're referring to, I get your point. Obviously, I think they're the ones that I just don't think have got a chance.
No, they haven't. No,
I'm sure they were probably told to start of the season that they weren't part of the plans, because he did say he went round with, he had individual meetings with all the players, and he explained his, to them going forward. The ones that I think are crucial to us are probably Ryan Innis and Jordan Moore-Taylor. Obviously, they've both been hit with injuries this season, so with no fault of our own, and it's, or even, for Robbie, they've been injured, so they are unavailable for selection. It'd probably kill me for saying this one, but Harvey Bunker, I mean, he's 22, but he's vastly experienced for 22. He was in our team when we won League Two, in the squad, shall I say, when we won League Two. He played a fair bit last year and scored a fair few goals. It's tough for Harvey because we've obviously brought in players like Woko and Campbell. I think with the run we're on, we probably couldn't go far wrong with maybe trying to set Harvey in the midfield with one of them two, or even maybe both of them, and just try and get a hold of the ball in midfield and protect the back four a little bit. And, like I said, he's experienced and he can chip in with the odd goal.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all entitled to our opinions, and that's what we're having.
Yeah. But again, he sees them all through the week, doesn't he, at training?
It's Robertson. You're right.
You might see things that we don't. We can only sit here and, like you said, giving an opinion on what we think.
Yeah. And Robbie Savage will live and die by, at the end of the day, he's the one who takes the flack from fans and media, whatever it may be, if things are going wrong. And he'll take the praise when things go well. It's his squad. He lives and dies by his decisions.
Like I said, in his speech yesterday, he did say, that experience could be something that they try and address come the summer. So, like, as well as I know, in the National League, you can take players from teams because there's no transfer window, and they can go and replace them. If them experienced players are playing in League Two or League One, they're not going to let their players go out of a transfer window because they can't replace them. So that's probably what he's looking at the summer. So I think we've just got to ride the storm. We've got another tough game next Saturday, obviously, against Boreham Wood. So we just got to keep trying to plug out something and stop the bad result.
Well, I was just going to finish on that. So you said obviously you got Boreham Wood next week. Then your next 5 games, including Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth away. You've got Boston, who have won their last 4.
Oh, man.
Gateshead, who should be given their bottom of the tee. Everybody's beating them. Aldershot are on a good run since Coleman's gone in there. And then you got Southend. That's the big one for Forest Green, Sean, because if the results don't pick up, Southend and Halifax are starting to gain now, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you just mentioned Boston there. I mean, they went and smashed Scunthorpe 6-3 yesterday at Scunthorpe. And I think they've just crept up into the top half of the table now. I think they're like 11th or something. They seem to be on a bit of forms. Yeah, it's just at the moment, this run's not getting any easier. But, you know, we are where we are. We're up in the playoffs. I think we're 10 points in or something like that. And we've just got to try and get something from somewhere.
Yeah. But it's gonna be an exciting run in, and a lot of people might think that we spend a lot of time on Forest Green. At the moment, there's a lot going on at Forest Green, so it's the talking points. We had it with Cheltenham at the beginning of the season when we were an absolute shambles. We're just waiting for you to be a shambles, Dave, and we can spend a bit more time on you.
No, we'll wait until we're the only team in the playoff positions, and then we can concentrate on it.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Sean.
Cheers, boys.
We'll go to scores on the doors. Back with you, Sean.
Let's.
Next up is Talk of the County's Prediction League and Scores on the Doors by Sean Baker.
Well, it's been one poor week for myself, that's for sure. I didn't pick up any points. Chris, I think, picked 3 points. So he's on 46. Dan got 1 point. Sorry, Dan, you picked up 1 point. You're on 46. Chris, you picked up 3 points. You're on 48. I didn't pick up any, so I stay on 51. And Dave picked up 4 points, so he's on 57.
He's running away with it now, Dave.
He's got a 6 point gap at the top. And Chris,
Can we just confirm that who is not bottom anymore?
no, Chris, you're second bottom now. You're
Can we
creeping
confirm?
up on me.
We did say, didn't we? The person who finishes bottom has got to host the final podcast of the season wearing a bikini, didn't we? Do you remember that?
I'll do that if I finish top. But yeah, I am bottom. I've got to take the mickey myself, guys, because I was taking the mickey of you when you guys got bottom. So.
Yeah, Dave, you're top on 57. I'm second on 51. Chris is third on 48.
I've got a 6 point lead at the top.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dan is bottom on 46. So it's
I've had a drop off in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're 11 points behind Dave.
Yeah, I remember I was 11 points ahead of him, so it can still change. Let's go on to next week's games, starting with Tuesday. Cheltenham are another tough one away at Bromley. Head-to-head, there's only been 5. Cheltenham have won 2, Bromley have won 2, and there's been 1 draw. Last time out was 2-1 home defeat back in August. Chris, your thoughts and predictions?
I don't even think Bromley are a particularly good football team, but they're top of the league. And I don't see us winning. I think it'll be 2-0 to Bromley.
Okay. Sean?
Yeah, they look pretty strong, don't they? They're
look at their form. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they
drawn 1-1, drawn 1, drawn.
I mean, 2-0 is a good shout, to be fair, but I don't want to copy Chris because he's creeping up on me. So I might go 3-0.
Dave?
3-1 Bromley.
I'm going to go 2-1 Bromley. And I agree with you, Chris. They're not brilliant on the eye, but what they do it well. They've got
what did you say, 2-1?
Yeah.
2-1 Bromley. Yeah, they got such a big side. They're dangerous in both boxes. They defend well, and they end up scoring so many set pieces.
And we're shocking at set pieces.
Set pieces, that's my worry. I don't want to go and say we're going to, we done well yesterday, but I think a 2-1. And then that moves us on to Saturday, where another easy one. We're at home to Salford. Head-to-head, there's been 8. Cheltenham Town have won 4. Salford have won 2. There's been 2 draws. The last time out was a 1-1 in August when they cruelly scored in stoppage time to equalise. Chris, your thoughts and predictions?
I feel like I'm being really, really negative this week. But for this one, I am going to go with another 1-1.
Okay. Sean?
Wow. I don't think Salford are in great form, are they? I mean, he lost Man City yesterday 2-0. So
yeah, shocking result, that is.
I don't know. That's the sort of game where I think Cheltenham could probably
lose.
maybe get something. So I might go 1-1.
Behave yourself, Sean.
Dave?
3-1, Salford.
Because our record against them is pretty good, and I'm quite buoyant from yesterday's performance. I'm going to go 2-0 home win.
What did Chris say?
1-1, mate. Same as you.
It's like I'm stretching that lead at the top then.
When you're behind, you got to take risks. And then it's going to Forest Green. Forest Green on Saturday travelled to Borehamwood. Head-to-head, there's only been 5. Forest Green have won 4. Borehamwood 1. No draws. Last time was a 2-1 win, home win in October for Forest Green. Sean, your thoughts and predictions?
Wow, I think it's going to. It's a tough one because they were in good form when we played them at home, and we absolutely sort of battered them. Really,
What's the score?
Well, it was only 2-1, but I mean performance-wise, we battered them. But then they've not been in great form, have they? So I kind of I want to go for a Forest Green win.
You say they haven't been in great form, nor have you.
I might go 3-0. Nah, joking. I might go 3-1.
3-1 Forest Green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave, you're pulling away, mate.
Chris?
I'm going to go 2-2.
Dave?
3-1 Borehamwood.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Borehamwood. And then on to Gloucester. Gloucester are at home to Wimborne. Head-to-head has been 4. Gloucester have won 1. Wimborne have won none. And there's been 3 draws. And last time it was a 2-2 draw in November. Dave, thoughts and predictions?
Fortress Meadow Park, 3-1 City.
Chris?
2-1 City.
Sean?
Can't write and think at the same time.
No, 2-0 City.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 City. Right. I think that's a good place to leave it. Chris, as always, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, my friend.
Thanks for joining us, Sean.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Look at us squeezing under 2 hours.
Only spent an hour on Forest Green.
Follow us on the usuals: X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. On a weekend where the robins avoid a sting from the bees, a Valentine's to forget for Rovers, and City made to rule mischances. See you next time.